Looks like I'm muted. All right, we are going to be waiting for um, everybody to hop in right now. Let's give people some time. We're early, which is great. What's up, Alfredo?
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, we're good. All right, we'll give it a few minutes to see who hops in. Hey, Jose on Amtrak. All right, yeah, listen in, no worries. All good, all good. You guys can be in audio. We are the ones that will be in video. So we're good. I'm making a quick post or can you make a quick post, Jello, on Instagram and Facebook that we're live? And if you could send that email out, I think, I think you're
Okay,
muted, but
okay.
yeah, cool. All right, thank you.
Do you smile, Alfredo and Fernando, so I can take a photo? Okay, ready? One, two, three. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Jello. Beautiful smile, Alfredo. All right, hi, Shishi and Golanda. Do you know everybody here, Alfredo, or a few people, or no?
I do not.
All right, cool. Well, welcome everyone. We'll get into kind of who Alfredo and I are, because I know a few of you guys on here, which is cool, and we'll let see who trickles in. Mm.
Do you release these out after
Oh,
recording? I think some people were asking about it.
yes, I can record it. So once we get started, I'll start the record. Oh, it's actually being recorded right now. Yes, we'll release it out. It's cool. What'd you have for dinner? How'd you eat? How was yeah, the food you ate? What'd you guys eat?
Oh, pretty good. We just had Mexican here in Texas, so family loves Mexican food.
Mm, bomb, 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 bomb.
I know you
I
guys
did.
don't have that out in SoCal.
What, Mexican food?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I, I live with my wife's parents too, and so like her mom will make chilaquiles or we just had tacos last night. So yeah.
Oh, nice. But that's like real Mexican food, not like from the streets Mexican food.
Yes, exactly. Oh, well, we can I mean if we really wanted to get to the streets, then we can walk. You know, we can drive right here locally. Dude,
Yeah.
I just that got off a call where 28 room property, ground up construction, somebody built these units with 7 rooms and 7 closets and top and bottom. It'll be 28 rooms in total on one property. I don't know. I mean, we have to figure out how are we going to finance it. 1.6 million purchase.
What are your thoughts on that right now? Like, how do you?
He hasn't sent me the layout. I'm a little cautious when people use like units versus rooms versus duplexes. The words get interchanged when we're talking about co-living and pad split. Somebody be like, "Oh yeah, I got like an 8 unit house. I got an 8 unit, on my property." And that's if it's an eightplex to totally different financing than if there's just a single family home with 8 rooms, and it's different than if it's a duplex with 4 rooms. So I told him, and he couldn't quite. And then it's also different depending on how many meters there are. Like how many meters are there? What's the city categorize it as? So when somebody tells me like I got 28 units, I say send me the layout, and then once they send me the layout, and the address, then I go online to see what it's like what it's permitted for. I'll even ask for the permits. I'll check the zoning, and then after all of that, we figure out what we need to solve. But that's the work that I
Or are they going to try to,
yeah to purchase. So somebody ground up built it already.
and it's completely operating or is it empty?
No, it's empty.
And people are, and I guess this is me wondering as an investor, is that person looking to build to sell, or do you think they couldn't finance it? They didn't know Fernando. They didn't know the creative ways they could refinance, and they're like, man, I need to offload this thing because I've got some sort of hard money loan on it and I can't even do it. So then
I
your
don't know.
buyer's like, I've got a Fernando. We can figure out how to finance this thing.
I think I'm not sure. Totally. I'm I'm not sure what they're thinking, but we'll see. I'm a little yeah. We'll see. Without getting into it, we gotta go figure it out. But that's like those are the types of problems that people will bring us in these deals. All right. I think we got a decent amount. It's 5 minutes after, so I think we get rocking and rolling. I am. If I do this, let me know if everybody. If I do, let's see, sort gallery by. Speaker, multi-speaker. If I do this and I pin to first screen you and I pin me to second screen, if I do that, are we side by side or no?
At least in mine, I got multi-speaker view on, so I don't think you changed my view. I think you changed your individual view.
Okay,
Oh,
it's like I'm spot.
now you pin me, so I'm larger. There we
There we
go.
go.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
we're side by side. All right,
Perfect.
sweet. This is what we wanted to accomplish. So do you want to kick things off? You want me to?
Yeah, I mean, let's dive right into it. I think actually let them know who you are. I'll let them know who I are, and then I am, and then we'll dive right in.
Yeah, and then just the frame. So how we're gonna roll this, like this conversation right now is gonna be like a literal conversation. It's gonna be like me and Alfredo going back and forth what we're doing. You guys, it's like a live podcast that we're doing in front of you. So it's not gonna be like I'm not gonna share my screen. Alfredo's not gonna share his screen unless we want to see an example of something. But for the most part, right now, we're going to treat this like a little bit of a podcast. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to ask each other questions. Alfredo's already using AI and automation in his company and property management. I'm using it in financing. We're going to talk about how we're each using it. And if you stick around to the end, we've got bonuses that we're going to be handing out. We got AI prompts that we use in property management or in financing, and we have solid SOP, his screening questionnaire for how many applicants do you get per month across your property management?
Oh man, I don't know, maybe like I don't know, 80, 90 right now. 80, we probably screen 80, 90 people a month.
Yeah, 80 to 90 people a month. So when you're getting that many applicants, how are you how are you filtering them through, right? So I'll start, that's the agenda or like that's how we're gonna roll with this. So on my side, my name is Fernando Corona. And if you don't know me, I do financing. I've been a co-living specific financing expert for the last 2.5 years. I own four pad splits myself, 34 doors, and I started investing 5 years ago. And as I was solving my own problems, I realized more people have these problems. So much so that in the last 2.5 years, we've closed 250 loans in the last 2.5 years, specifically for co-living investors. And that's me coming to you guys now. So I will hand it over to Alfredo.
Yeah, interesting. And for those that don't know me, I am very similar. I'm a real estate investor, started in 2016, got up to about 40 or so properties. And so then I thought, hey, let me buy a property management company so I can stop managing my properties. And now 2 years later, I'm trying to scale and grow a property management company. We're probably the biggest. We are the biggest co-living operator right now in Texas. We're probably like the third or fourth largest now in the nation. So from 0 to 8 or to 12 months, we're hitting out at around 800 co-living doors under management, but our property management company does everything, and I'm a software engineer by trade. So I'm basically strapping technology to like these boring services buildings or businesses. But yeah, like the really niche problems like this, like how do I scale a co-living portfolio? Like I think that's the stuff that I really like. And honestly, I just wanted to like we can jump right into it. I think very recently I got the question of because I'll post stuff on Facebook about what we're doing, and they're like, "Hey, I'm really interested to know about co-living. How do you handle the financing? Like, what are you doing?" So I wanted to ask you, like, what are the most common ways that people finance it, and what are like the most scalable ways to finance it?
Yeah, so for those of you in here, just do me a favor, drop inside of here if you're employed, self-employed, entrepreneur, like business owner, just like share with me a little bit about how you identify with yourself so that I can tailor, both of us can tailor kind of what we got going on for you. And then yeah, for you, Alfredo, you can ask them in terms of their properties, whatever you helps you tailor it as well. So, what's up, Michael? What's going on? Okay, so if you are, we got entrepreneurs on here. Perfect. I'm an entrepreneur as well. And the biggest struggle when I was an entrepreneur who had no money and no income was how do I build a portfolio? And all four of my properties I bought without my own money and without income. So what did I do? That's where we use hard money loans to get into properties. I was able to buy with entities that partnered with other people, got their capital. There's four things that we need in real estate. You need money, time, expertise, and credit. So I was able to provide credit, time, and expertise, and I just got private money partners to help me out. And we used hard money to buy in. We used DSCR loans to refi out. So DSCR loans, these if you can buy a property under market value, hard money, purchase, rehab, refinance into DSCR. Perfect for entrepreneurs. If you're then the second one, if you're an entrepreneur that makes good income, then we can use a bank statement loan. Did I tell you about the bank statement loans, by the way? That would be really good for you too. Have you heard of those, Alfredo? You
No,
have.
we should jump into the bank statement loan stuff.
So right now, if you wanted to buy a real estate property, if you want to scale your portfolio, are you buying with hard money and rehabbing, refinancing, or are you buying straight up and then converting? What's your
No, everything we do is hard money loan refi.
Okay? So in your case, yeah, you got to that next level. So if you want to refinance, and you wanted to do an 80% cash out on DSCR, hypothetical. The problem with DSCR is it relies on the rental income of the property, not using co-living income. It's going to use like long-term market rents. You get what I'm saying? Not
Right,
necessarily co-living income. If you
right,
do this, do it like that. The benefit of going bank statement loan is we can use your property management's deposits. You probably get a bunch of property management deposits, right? Your business,
right.
millions, if I can speak candidly here. So dude, that means you can do 80% cash out refis on these properties using a bank statement loan. Doesn't matter about the DSCR. DSCR will never be an issue for you. And you could just buy, rehab, 80% cash out. You'd have to convert the properties after you do your cash out. But that's one way that an entrepreneur who makes strong income can use a bank statement loan.
Wait,
Uh,
so and I guess let me dive into that for those that are watching. So the process that I do is I I think in order to scale, you have to force equity and you kind of have to find really good deals as opposed to like I think the person that first gets into it, they get their feet wet with 20%, 15% down loan to buy the
right,
property. You buy one and now you're cash strapped. You're like, so what do I do? How do I get to my next one? Well,
right.
in our scenario, we love to find these distressed properties, get them 70 cents on the dollar, and we try to refi at 75 to 80 cents on the dollar so we can get our money back and then you can go do it again and again and again. So in that
Yep.
scenario, I find these hard money lenders or private money lenders, people that you know that have money. They give me the loan for this great deal that I found that's distressed. Now you're saying after I fix it up, do I need to rent it out, or can I just come and say, Fernando, I need an 80% bank statement on refi?
That's it. It doesn't have to be rented, be vacant.
It could be completely vacant, and it's based off of my bank statements, not the property performance or what it can do.
Right. And not on your tax returns either.
And no tax returns. Does that involve a credit check?
Yeah, you still need a credit check. Yeah.
Okay, so it's credit and bank statements. And
Right.
then do I, as an entrepreneur, can I show bank statements for any entity, or does it have to be like the entity that it's buying in?
Any entity, like your property management company, you can show me your property management company's income. Isn't that crazy? And then the
That's
loan,
pretty mind-blowing.
the loan does not report to your personal credit. So you can do this in like a bunch of times. I mean, so long as your business makes income and all that stuff, right? And your personal credit's protected. So when you want to go buy a primary home, your debt to income ratio is zero. And you can go and buy a primary home without you separate church and state, business and personal. It's
Yeah,
pretty
so I
sweet.
think Jose has a really good question here. He's asking, is the bank statement loan a down payment of 15% instead of 20? What does that look like?
Yeah, if it's a primary home, it's 10%. If it's an investment property, it's 15%. And
Okay.
then if you wanted to go more, then you could. But yes, the minimum down payment on an investment property bank statement loan is 15%.
So does that mean you can refi up to 85%, or is it max 80% on a refi?
It gets a little more nuanced there. The short answer to that is yes, we can go up to 85% only to pay off debt and closing costs. We can't get to 85% cash out.
So you're saying like rate and term. So for those that don't know, you can go up
Yes.
to 85% if the thing that you're paying off is that full amount of loan. It's not money that we're taking out. How, and so this might be a little bit more advanced, but for those that are there that say, hey, I want to do an 85% cash out refi, but I might not be able to because that's not how, like maybe I'm in the property at 75%. Uh,
Right.
if I want to do like, let's say a second position lien against the property to do a rate and term, like have you done those where I can get the debt to
Yeah,
be up to
that's the one where
85%?
yeah, I failed at that one. So first off, it's okay to fail. And part of failing is you learn. So remember, there's a gentleman that you had introduced me to where we tried to do that strategy, but if the second lien is filed after the first lien, they're not going to count it. We're not going to be able to go 85. So
How far is after? And so for those that kind of just to track what we're talking about is you can put a lien against your property and that technically counts as debt. So if you're only financing 70%, but you want to go to refinance up to 85%, you might put a second position lien on it that says, hey, this is an extra $30,000 lien, $100,000 lien to get you up to 85%. So whenever you go refi, you're technically cashing out because you're paying that money back to yourself, but it might be a different entity that you don't own or somebody else's entity that kind of gives you
yeah,
a quote
if
unquote
I
loan.
put a lien on Alfredo's property as we're friends, and he's like, dude, Fernando, put a lien on my property so that I can get paid out that extra money, and then I'll send it back to Alfredo. That's what
Right.
the now this is in theory, this works. And with some lenders, it does work. The 85 LTV lenders that I have access to, so far it won't work. The second lien needs to be filed on the same HUD at the time of purchase.
Oh,
That
wow.
is that's the
And
catch,
so there's a constraint there because some lenders don't want you to do a second position lien in order for them
right?
to give you the loan. Okay, so like if it's like the day after, the lender's like, nope, we're not going to do that.
No, because it's not considered a purchase money loan. The way around it, it's not a way around it. The benefit where it comes in handy is even if it's a first lien, if you underestimate the ARV and your ARV comes in short, it's really so you're estimating 75%, right, of ARV, but if your ARV comes in short, that's where it still helps people. Because now even though the value came in lower, we can get up to the 80 to 85% LTV to pay off even the first lien, even though your value came in lower, because there's less equity in the deal. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
I think
right.
somebody else had another question in here too for you about if you can use this strategy to buy a primary home.
Yes, 10% down. You can use the bank statement loan. You just have to be self-employed for 2 years, even if the business has only been operational for one. But you do have to be self-employed for 2 years, just to be clear. So even if if your business could have been just operational this year. And as long as your bank statements from personal bank statements and business bank statements, we have 12 months that track. And then we can see that you've been self-employed like the year before in the same industry, we can do it.
Oh, and it looks like Veronique has a really interesting question. So
Tell
when you
me.
say credit check for this bank statement loan, is that still needing your personal social or is that the company's tax ID?
Yeah, no, it's still your personal because it's a comparable credit. It's called comparable credit. Like when you go to get a business credit card is going to look at your personal credit still, even though it's a business credit card. And when you use your business credit card, the utilization does not report to personal credit. But the reason why it's called comparable credit because you're still signing a personal guarantee on the business credit card. And the same thing with these loans that we're getting on your business, you're still signing a personal guarantee. But what I'm saying is the mortgage does not report to personal credit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a really good point because I think most people, whenever they hear like business credit, there is an impact to your credit score, but it's very tiny. It's just on a pool and it's just a hard pull, which is like usually like 2 points, something very small. And in about like 2 years or so, those fall off your credit. But anything that happens with that asset, so if you end up not paying it, if you end up late paying it, none of that's reported, none of that affects your personal credit. And like if you use business credit cards and you run them up, none of that reports or hurts your
Yeah,
personal credit. So
that's huge.
you still have to keep your personal credit high in order to qualify for these things, but you're just using them to get your foot in the door. These assets never come back and and affect your credit. Um, and in most cases, because there's like a caveat on business credit cards, like I think it's a Capital One that it's a business credit card, but then it like
And
does
Discover. Yeah,
or
Capital One and Discover. Both of those. Those ones might report to personal credit. Yeah, there's some issues there. Good. Thanks for the clarity on that. I'll get a few more questions in here, and then I'm gonna ask Alfredo a question so we can dive into property management too. Yes. So Laura, yes, you can use the strategy to buy a primary home, 10% down using bank statement income, and you'd qualify. Is that for that as well? Can you do this portfolio, say 10 properties? You can't, no. You can do, but you're gonna have to close those individually. So it's not really a portfolio loan. Portfolio loans that I know of are really only in the DSCR space. You're just closing under one loan. Yes, we can do that. Your minimum value of the property has to be like 125,000. So if you're, that's for the portfolio answer. Cap on
let's
DSCR loans. Go ahead.
wait before we move on, let's unpack that a little bit. So how do you feel about portfolio loans? How many of those have you done? Have you seen
I
any
don't like
issues
them.
with them?
I don't like them. I think mainly because most investors, at least right now, like we're still stacking our wealth. And a portfolio loan is something like if you know you're going to keep that for 30 years and never sell or refinance, then a portfolio loan makes sense. Most of my clients are thinking, how do I buy and then refinance, especially with the high interest rate market? They might refinance in the future or they might sell. And so the problem with the portfolio loan is if you have 10 properties in a portfolio loan, then every time you go to refinance one property, first off, the lender may ask you to refinance all 10. Or number two, when you refinance one, you're going to impact all the other ones. So they're not going to give you all the equity. What does that mean? So if I've got 10 properties, one's valued at 150, one's valued at 250, then the 251 goes up by 50,000 and the 151 goes up by 100,000. I want to refinance the 151. I want to get that full $100,000, but they're going to say, we need to cross collateralize. So we're going to refinance this one, but you're going to have another issue over here. You're going to have to move some debt on these other properties. We're not going to give you all the cash out is what the issue could be. Or you go to sell it and they're like, well, you can't sell that asset because that was debt, that was our debt. So we're going to move some of your equity from the sell into these other properties as well. So you run into those types of issues.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point. So I back in 2020 when interest rates are going really low, I started refining a bunch of my portfolio and I thought, oh, I'm a genius. Let me get a portfolio loan against a couple of these. And the only benefit that I saw was that it saved me on some closing costs. Like
Title fees.
it
Yeah,
was a
for
single
sure.
closing, so I saved that instead of paying like individual property. But long term, I shot myself in the foot. So today, when I'm looking to reposition assets, I like to 1031 a lot. So it's like we just bought a little office space building near this little hipster area downtown Fort Worth for a couple of our businesses. and I 1031 exchange into purchasing these. Well, whenever I go try to sell one of these assets off, or to your point, refinance them, they're stuck together, they're bundled. And the lender that I had specifically was like, hey, in order to peel one off, so like I think this one had like seven in one bundle. They're like, in order to peel this one off, the payoff for it is 125% of the payoff value. And I was like, wait, what does that mean? Like for that single asset, I have to pay you additional money to be able to pull that asset out. And like that was the point of their terms. And so yeah, it gets harder if you're trying to play Monopoly and you're like, hey, I need this asset now to go over there. I need to sell this one or I need to reposition that one. If you're
Yeah.
still in growth phase, portfolio loans end up tying you down and are not a good way to go. To your point, like if you're just going to set those things and forget them for 20 years and then you're going to want to do something with them together, like that makes sense. But like
Yep.
otherwise, portfolio loans were kind of tough. What's really interesting too is I don't know if you looked at the rates, but I don't recall seeing much difference in rates with the portfolio loans. Were you seeing like,
No, I don't think so either. And then your LTVs are usually going to be a little smaller. Like you're not going to be able to buy like do an 80% cash out refi on a portfolio loan. So you're right. It's a good point. Are you in growth phase or are you in like wealth building long term? I'm going to hold this for 20, 30 years. Let's move on to, let me answer Andy's here. Is there a cap to use like these loans to buy investment properties? In one go, the most that right now with one lender you can have is like 10, but that's at the same time. So you can have 10 open at the same time with the same lender, but once they sell these, you can get another pack of 10. So that's the only catch. But if you don't plan on buying 10 at the same time, then there's no cap. The
is that for
cap,
acquisition or refi?
any loan, it could be both. They don't want to have 10. There's two caps. There could be like a loan limit cap. So some lenders will say the max we can lend to a single entity or a guarantor is like 5 million. Or they might
Mm.
say the most we can give to somebody is 10 loans. But for the 10 loans, what they really mean is they can resell that loan. Once the loan gets sold on the secondary market, it like frees you up again to do another one.
Mm.
But that's only if you've reached your limit of 10. I'm speaking specifically in my scenario, in with the lenders that I'm using.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. Do you have any that don't resell?
yes, we have portfolio lenders that
Okay.
keep the loans on their on portfolio. I only have one.
Oh, okay. And so that's just something that I like to tell people that because I've had a couple of loans that we almost got foreclosed on because it sold three or four times and we didn't know who to make the payment to. What was
Mm,
worse is that in the beginning they so because it was a entity, it was a commercial loan, they had our social and our EIN and they I guess the person entering the data was dyslexic and they scrambled our last four. And so we couldn't even authenticate and say, no, those are our loans because they had the incorrect EIN on their side and we didn't know. They were just saying, no, that EIN doesn't match any of the loans until it got to the point where we were able to talk to an attorney to get that. But it sold three or four times and now I'm like, man, are there lenders that are not going to go and resell my loan and then I have a new servicer? Have to get set up with them, and it's just a whole thing. Especially if you can imagine after you have a slew of properties, trying to keep up with what property went where. Like it's kind of it gets really squirrely.
yeah, that does suck, especially if you do have a lot of properties. No, they're unfortunately, man, this is how they all make money. They make money, but the lender is still a broker. The lender that originates the loan is technically a broker to the secondary market. And then they sell their loans to the secondary market. The secondary market then packages a bunch of loans. The first lender doesn't always package the loan. The first lender that gives you the money, I'm a broker. I broker the lender to you, and the lender gives the money, but that lender who gives the money's coming from a warehouse line at a bank. They'll fund the deal, but their warehouse line only has a certain amount of money. Let's say it's got $100 million. To make it maybe easier for us, let's just say it's 10 million. That if that lender doesn't resell it, that means they can only lend $10 million, which that's $10 million is not a lot in the lender's mind, right? per for lending out that much money per month. So they, in order for them to recycle their line, their own warehouse line, they need to sell it quickly so they can replenish their line, or else they could literally run out of money. And if they run out of money to fund deals, they're screwed. So they
What's the
have to
business
sell it.
model? Yeah.
They're flipping notes. Yeah, they're basically flipping notes. They're originating notes and then they sell it to quickly recapitalize. Their warehouse line gets recapitalized and they go do another loan. That's how that's how the lending climate works. And then this once it gets sold in the secondary market, somebody over there is packaging all the loans together, let's say 100 or 1,000 loans, and then they sell those to life insurance companies. So
Oh,
those are,
interesting.
and they sell them to like Bank of America's and Wells Fargo's. Andy, you can buy 10 at a time with one lender. So that means that with the second lender, you can go get another batch of 10 if you were really that ambitious and you wanted to get 20 loans at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, let's do, before I get to Shishi's question, we're going to flip over to property management. So, Fredo, first off, on your side, I want to give a round of applause that when I first met you, dude, in Puerto Rico, and you weren't even a speaker there. Everybody was like, "Why isn't Alfredo a speaker?" Like you got so much to share, and I think they made you an honorary speaker, and like they give you like a breakout room or something. So one of the coolest things that Fredo did, which was still some pocket of failure, that you bought this property management company, but it didn't like start off super beautiful. It actually started off where like everything was in the red and you like bought and you thought you bought an asset and it was like way more complicated than that. Just share really quick, like if you could do a quick 2, 3 minute story of that journey of you buying that business because we're all, a lot of us are entrepreneurs here. And so you bought that business, things did not go well. You lost a partner that you had to pay out, or like, go ahead without me blowing it up.
Yeah, so I had a partner that came in, and so like the only thing I knew is that property management was going to be accounting heavy, and so that's not my strong suit. So I went out to go find a partner to do this with, and to this day, like we ended amicably. Like she's still really good. I recommend her out to people because she just wanted to go different routes, and uh, like what we didn't realize is whenever you buy a property management company. Dude, it is a slog. Like anybody that's starting one from the ground up, I would applaud, but then I would also say like, hey, there's an easier way because you have to get to like 100 doors under management before you can even hire the next person. And you can't even think about working on your business because managing 100 properties, there's like 1,000 little 5 minute tasks that you have to do. And so your day just gets eaten up. So yeah, so uh like to rewind back, I was getting calls from like because I was just a self-managing landlord and I was getting calls of like, my toilet's clogged up or whatever. And I'm like, these are the most annoying things. I need to do high value ticket items. So let me get this off my plate. And so I started telling people like, hey, I want to buy a property management company. And I think at the time, for those that listen to like people like Cody Sanchez or like Alex Hermosi, like they were blowing up at the time, and real estate was starting to. So this was back in 2022. So interest rates had just gotten insane. And so I was thinking like, okay, we're gonna have to pivot as we go into this environment. And so we're like, okay, the pivot is going to be into businesses. Let's first, I don't want to do the property management. I don't want to pay for property management. Let's go buy one so I can put my properties in there. And so I started telling people, and I loved everything about the idea of property management. It is recurring revenue that you don't have to sell again. So like most folks want they need to set up a sales team and you have to continuously sell to keep getting that pipeline in to keep making money. So in property management, you sell once, and like the lifetime value of a customer for us, even the yearly value of a customer for us is like they're really good margins if you can figure out how to make it work. And so we go out and we find them, and we then get we want somebody and they're distressed. Perfect. Just like I know how to negotiate real estate deals, we'll negotiate this business deal. This guy, man, and unfortunately, he's passed away since then. He had some personal demons that he ended up battling with, but he ends up letting us know that the one of the major issues is he just can't make payroll. And I looked at it, I looked at the company, I was like, at least underwriting it, it looks like he should be profitable. All the numbers make sense. I should be able to cover payroll. Okay, let's do it. I will take the next 30 to 60 days. I will fund payroll until we figure out what the issues are, and then we get started. So,
And can you share really quick how much was payroll, just so we can put a number on it? Are you comfortable with that?
yeah, it wasn't that much at that time. I think it was like maybe like 8 or 9 grand a month.
Mm.
8 or 9 grand a month without paying the part-time account that they had, and he wasn't going to pay himself out anymore. I think total in expenses was like 15 to 20K at that time,
Mm.
for payroll and additional services they were using. So not a whole bunch. Like I'm maybe going to front like maybe like 30, 40K for 60 days in order to get this done. On top of that, we negotiated a seller finance deal. So we were going to get we gave him $75,000 down, and he was going to finance the rest over 5 years at like a 5% interest, and we were going to give him monthly payments. But we actually said that the rest of the payments wouldn't start until I got him back profitable and showed him what it was. And I estimated like, dude, it'll be like 30, 60, 90 days. We'll get it figured out. And so we start the property management company. We kind of get rolling in it. The first the first issue is we have to migrate all of the data into one of our own instances of something called AppFolio. So like I see Royce's kind of question here of like, how did you switch your automation and systems when you self-managed in other properties, when you started managing other people's properties? And so yeah, she's specifically pointing to trust accounting. So I used to manage on something free called Cozy.co. I don't know if any other investors from back like 2018, 2019 use that. Apartments.com ended up buying them. And so it's this management software. And so I had my stuff in there, but now we're moving to this company. This company uses AppFolio. So to your question, Royce, trust accounting is done within AppFolio for you. You just have to do the actions of reconciling on the platform. And for those who don't know, or those who are interested, because I think I saw some other folks in here talk about property management. If you ever take rent on somebody else's behalf, you have to do something called trust accounting, and you have to do it in an account that's kind of like, so lawyers have an IOLTA, which basically means that like they have money on, and they're collecting money and holding it on your behalf. Property managers have that same type of account. We just call it a client funds account. And so Appfolio does all that trust accounting because you have to account per property expenses and bills per owner across your entire company, and then do your books as well. So it's just a bunch of bookkeeping. So we didn't know any of this. And the first day they're like, okay, you have to migrate all of this data into AppFolio. Man, we probably spent like 2 weeks up until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning with another guy that came on to be my property manager trying to get all this over. It was a freaking mess. We got it stabilized. We thought we knew what we were doing. And then you kind of hit the first hurdle, and it might be obvious like in hindsight, but that guy did not have reserves turned on. And so, like, if you can imagine, if you don't have reserves per property, we usually have $300 to $500 reserves per owner, per property. And so, like, if we have to pay handymen out and we were making payments because the vendors need to get paid within 2 weeks to 30 days, if we don't have payments for them, they're going to stop doing work for us. And that doesn't just affect that property, it affects all of our clients. And so we ended up finding out around $60,000 a month were being floated because we didn't have reserves in the bank from these property owners to pay for maintenance. And so like then we turn like that little switch on, and all of a sudden like there's more money in the bank. And like that one thing like changed it completely around. What's kind of crazy is before we made that switch, our partner was looking at the banks, the books, and they were like, hey, we don't have money to do this. We're we're gonna have to start putting in money. And so they were like, this is a really bad investment. Like, yo, I'm out. And so like on top of that, they were asking back for their money that they put in the deal. And I'm sitting there looking like I don't know anything about accounting, and you're telling me that this thing sucks. I trust you. You're a CPA, and you're telling me like all this sucks. And so now like everything's on fire. I think at this point, whenever they told me that, I think we were in Cancun, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, we got to cut our trip short. My partner wants out, and apparently we bought a dud, so I need to go back and figure it out. we came in and I just saw where the money was going, and I was like, hey, we just need reserves. Flip that switch, and all of a sudden we were profitable. With just
Was
that
it
one
really
thing,
like a button in Appfolio, like store reserves?
literally, literally. It's literally enable reserve. Like
I'm
that was
laughing just I'm just imagining like the chaos of like all this stuff going on and like or and when somebody's finger was stuck on delete with the code and the code's going terrible and then the guy like or his coffee is stuck on the trigger and he picks up the coffee like uh-oh. That's funny, man.
that
Um
was yeah, that was literally it. We added a couple of more things like we had to ask for owner contributions on like a cycle, some other little tiny stuff, but it's that really small stuff that takes your company from being in the red to then being profitable. And then yeah, like I think a lot of people think that property managers charge a lot of fees. Um, and I used to be that guy. I was like, oh, I don't want to fee people to death. And then you come to find out, oh, we kind of need that fee because that person's time's getting taken up. Oh, we kind of need that fee. Like we didn't used to have onboarding fees. I think now it's like a $250 onboarding fee. But if you think about the amount of work that it takes to walking it when it goes live and then waiting 30 days in order to make some income, it's like 60 to 90 days before the property management company makes a single penny. And so like then we're kind of floating all this work. And so we started, kind of implementing those fees. So like, yeah, there's some upfront piece to pay for our hard costs whenever we do that. And it's just kind of like tweaks like that. So it's been a journey to figure out that business and how to get it. And so today we're working more now on sales and growth, and we've got different problems, which is, at 800 rooms and you end up having some occupancy issues. Like now, how do we solve leasing? How do we solve getting these rooms filled? So it's kind of at a different level of problems now. And, I think you and I were talking about this earlier, but how do you know what the next stages are that you need to hire as things are breaking, as processes are needing to get inputted? So it's kind of like the stuff that we're working on today.
Cool, man. So I got another question over here for you where they want to know like automations and AI, people are more like broadly using these things at times. How do we get vertical with it? Like, how do we use it in our property management, or how can we use it in our financing, or how do we use it in our day-to-day lives? Um, I'll let you kind of take that away on how you're using it in your own business. And then also I think you and I had a debate this morning, which I would say in a good way, healthy way, you won. Which AI, yeah, we can talk about that too, but bring out first where where you see the just what you're doing, how you're really using it. We can talk about the debate that we had too this morning. I think that'd be pretty good. So actually, let's do it. Let's do a quick a question. Everybody in here, um, do you believe AI is currently, what do we want to say? Like, what's the question that we would ask? We want to take a poll. Do you think AI should replace
Did you,
like automation or what is it? AI?
it's kind of like, do you think today AI is at a point where you would allow it to do tasks on its own and make decisions without you having to check it, right? Like
Yeah.
today, would you want to ask AI to do something on its own, or would you want to have an automated process where you know it's controlled inputs and controlled outputs, and you get the same thing every single time?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because and so give me a specific. Okay, so let's actually get specific with it. Would you rather have AI do what? Like in your business without giving answers away to what you have AI do and what you have tech automation do? Let's get specific. What would
ooh,
you rather
I've got one
have?
for co-living. I've got
Yeah,
one
go
for
ahead.
co-living.
All right.
And I think a lot of folks here, if you're managing on pad split, you're probably answering messages of tenants coming in. Would you rather have AI automatically respond those for you? Or would you rather have canned responses where you say, hey, just grab this response for that question because I know this is a general response for that question. Oh, Mike O'Driscoll saying AI.
This
Yeah,
was
so
a
that's
debate.
that.
This was literally
Yeah,
the debate. This is perfect. You guys, but I mean, I'm gonna say it's perfect, and then you guys are willing to debate Alfredo all day. Um,
yeah.
so
Automate
go ahead,
inefficient
Alfredo.
tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading these
Yeah,
too.
so I think I think Andy's making my point. AI can do the welcome and the move out. Those would be canned responses. I'm saying that's automation, where like somebody moves in, you're going to send in the same template every single time, and this is automation. These are things that you would say like they're fixed responses that you use as an automation, not a decision point that AI has to make. So like the question would really be like, um, if somebody sent you a message every time you have AI think of a response, every single time, the response is going to be a little bit different. It's not always going to come out the same. Even if you like, let's say you create a custom GPT and you have your knowledge base, even in that custom GPT, it's always going to come out a little bit different. And I can kind of give an example. Like, let me share my screen because I think this might kind of drive this home. Let me
Yeah, so
see.
this is critical in the verticalness of it. In the verticalness of the question is how much rigidity do we want?
Right.
How much deviation from the absolute answer do you want? And if you're okay with more fluidity, more deviation, sure, go AI. But as you go more vertical, more niche, more specific, you want less deviation. You want more specificity, you want more accuracy, more rigidity. And that was the debate. And I think I ended up agreeing with Fredo that the more specific to a problem that you're solving, that it needs to be repeatable every single time when you run this 800 times a day, you don't want deviation. Back to you.
Yeah, and so this is a good hybrid response to this. So like this would be if you have a chat, you're going to get a lot of deviation, potentially even hallucination, which, I think AI is getting a lot better at it. Whenever I first started a couple of years ago, it had like a 20% hallucination rate. So if you asked it for like, hey, what are five factoids about this thing? One of those factoids was a lie. Today, it's gotten a lot better. I think it's something at like under 2% or something like that. But you still have to be careful. It might still lie to you. So you can see like this is my Notion. And so we really like Notion because it kind of houses all of your SOPs. And this is kind of a little hack that I do. I don't know if you do it like this, Fernando, but in order to fill out our SOPs, we just use Loom, and they have this
Yep.
awesome feature to create the SOP for you.
Yep.
And so like, well, if I can get it to load, um, okay, property update, how to check your occupancy. We maybe send one of these welcome videos out to an owner, and then over on the left side, I think if you go to edit, you'll be able to say generate document, and it'll go into it'll generate the document of SOP. We literally just it'll give you screenshots. It'll kind of tell you how to do it. And at the end, it'll have a link to the video. So we'll literally just copy texts of these Loom videos where you just hit this button here and click record, and it'll just start recording immediately. So you can make SOPs literally in seconds. We just create a page for them and we dump them in our Notion. That way we don't have to explain things twice to like let's say a VA. But here's the deviation that we're talking about AI. So let's say you're like you want to hire VAs now because you're scaling and you're like, hey, I need a VA that's just going to handle maintenance for me. They're just going to handle, I don't know, maybe somebody messaged them and they said that they're locked out. And so the VA comes on, they go into Notion to check your things, this thing they can chat with, and they say, how do I handle a co-living lockout, right? And so Notion is the initial is AI. And so it's starting to prompt itself here. So you can kind of see the questions that it's asking. Now it's searching through our SOPs. And then after it searches through our SOPs, AI is actually going to give you an answer. And so it's telling you here, like for co-living lockout, find the parent property. So this is specific to us. It's in Appfolio. Look for a house map. So all of our properties have house maps. And if you haven't seen them, it's basically like a Kubi Casa. And on the floor plan, it says, here uh, is the water heater. Here is where the internet is. Here's where the owner's closet is. Here are all the big ticket items. Here's where they can find the breakers. And we send that out with all of our work orders. Where the exterior lockbox is. Okay, share the code with the tenant. And so it kind of goes through, but this may deviate a little bit because it's not the actual SOP. But if you go into the SOP itself, like by clicking, click that link, if I can get it to go. Oh, we're probably
I
having,
think
I don't know if it's slow.
that's weird. Hover over and
Yeah,
click the actual text. You can't do it. That's kind of lame.
yeah, it leaves. Okay. But so either way, like the point here being that this might deviate a little bit between what the actual notion says. And so that would be like the rigid response. And so every time you query this though, you chat with it, this might change a little bit. And for most things that might be fine, but like as you're scaling and these things get bigger, you kind of want to get more and more and more precise. And AI just isn't there yet. So this is kind of one cool thing that I wanted to show you guys that at least we do with AI, and it's a lot of SOPs because as we're scaling, trying to train other team members, we just used to dump this here so we don't have to answer the same question every time we're training someone. And Notion has been a really cool tool to work in.
That's cool, man. I think I want to show on my side. So we'll see. We use Slack. If we use Slack on our side here, and if I wanted to, as an example, where would it be? Let's just say here, I wanted to put, we call ours Jarvis, and I want to ask Jarvis, how do I order an appraisal with All Pro or something like that? This is just an appraisal management company. It should come back and into this exact thread. So at my team and I, we work inside of Slack. And so we've connected Jarvis with an external source that connects to all our SOPs, similar to what you're doing there. But since for us, we were like, we're inside of chat pretty often. Um, right here, let's see. Here you go. Here's how to order like here it is, boom, boom, boom. You go more, and then here's our source, how to order an appraisal, and you can bring this up, right? And it pops up there. So for us, we built it in like this, and Jarvis gives us that result here plus the source. This is, I think we are using AI though in this case. I think we're using either Claude or Gemini in this one. That's one example. So sharing that you guys have Notion, you have ClickUp's another tool. I don't really like ClickUp though. We moved away from it. Sounds like Notion's working for Fredo. You can also build it within your communication channels. We personally migrated to Slack because of this reason right here. And I can also respond back to Jarvis right here. And I could say something else and it'll like pick up from our conversation and it'll store memory. So now I'm having a conversation with Jarvis. Why is this important for us? We can also give feedback on this response, by the way. So right now, if I give a thumbs up, then I'm happy with this response. If I give a thumbs down, we track the thumbs down response. And so every week, my automation team, I have an in-house automation team, they get scored on how many bad responses did we get. And then now they have to modify their prompts and retrain and all that stuff. In the future, this is going to be our true agent assistant. Like right now, if I want to say at Jarvis, send an email to Fredo about X. If we have, without going into Fredo's file, if we have a loan file for Alfredo, then Jarvis can read the loan file for Alfredo, grab his email, and like send him an email about something.
That's pretty good.
You get what I'm
That's
saying?
yeah.
Um, we can order title from here. If I say at Jarvis, what if I say what's the status of the file? If I say order title, it it has the trigger to go into our database systems and it can order title based off the loan file and all that stuff. So for us, we are building AI to become an assistant for us. This is a crap ton of work. I invest about $2,000 a month into our team and our technology. But it's an investment for us, right? What are we using to create Jarvis? So for us, we use one called N8N. Um, so Slack communicates, it's N8N is the platform. Zapier, Make, N8N. These are all three automation softwares. So that's how we're using it right now. Um, yes. Any
Yeah,
questions?
very cool.
So the problem that we're running into. So I'll share where I'm running into a problem, by the way, and where Alfredo, where I think he won the conversation, the debate in a good way. We've been having issues with my AI reading purchase contracts or reading IDs. Why are we having issues? Because every state's ID is subtly different. Every state's ID has the expiration date in a different location, the expiration date having like 01/21, 2020, 2030 versus just like 01-2020. You know what I mean? Like every ID in every state is different, is the point. Some of them have last name, then shows the last name. Some of them just have LN and then the last name. So because of all that variation, the AI isn't smart enough yet to know exactly which LN, all these different things for all the different types of IDs. It's not smart enough to repeatedly output what we need it to output. So it'll confuse the expiration date with the issue date with the whatever, all these other dates that are on the IDs. Or sometimes it'll say like, I can't find it. And yeah, so to Laura's point, yet, okay, so there's a solution in the meantime. So we have issues with purchase contracts because every state has a different purchase contract, and we have issues with IDs because every state has different IDs. So we have been this is to Laura's question earlier, or what she was saying. We've been jigging it. We've been jigging the AI prompts. We've been retraining it every single time, and it works and it works and it works for like 10, 20, 30 files, and then it breaks and then we're like, dang it, this is like a critical piece of our process. You can't break. Like you're reading a purchase contract. If you do not read the financing contingency accurately and we miss the financing contingency, then this investor is going to lose $5,000 of their earnest money. You get what I'm saying? Like that's how critical this is. And Fredo has a solution. Go.
Yeah. Wait, do you mean as to like how to do that, or you mean like we
Yeah,
talking
just
about?
what the solution we talked about this morning, or what how we
Yeah,
do it instead. Try to
yeah,
synthesize it in a way that's palatable and
yeah.
not
So
overly complex.
what's really interesting, and I think because I can kind of show what we've been building as an example of this, but like whenever I first started building as a software engineer, to Fernando's point, I'm always thinking, how could I spend less time on this thing? Like I want AI to do this thing for me. I came to find out that AI itself shouldn't be making the decisions. I should be using AI to build the thing that does it consistently over and over and over and over and over again. So, like to his point where he's saying he's using N8N, you should chat with AI to figure out like, hey, what tools and how do I do this? How can I plug these in together so that it can do this thing repeatedly for me? And so what's really cool is once you build it in N8N, you can then offer it as a tool to something we call the orchestrator model. So you have a AI that knows how to use tools, and so you can send the input to it and have it connect to these tools that will give you it'll take a consistent input and give you a consistent output. So kind of like Notion, where Notion is a general tool that you can chat with, but it's going to give you the exact SOP for us instead of us creating a custom GPT prompt that may or may not always give us the same output whenever somebody asks for it. And so like in his scenario, we're basically saying like you need to build up the tools in 8N that will parse each contract by state and then give your AI access to those tools so it uses that as opposed to having it make decision. At that point, it just needs to figure out what state is this thing from and then use the appropriate tool uh, to do
Yep.
that thing. And so in co-living operations, which is really interesting, we're building something right now, and maybe we can kind of uh,
You want to share your screen again? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Let me know. Can you see it right now?
Yes. I'm gonna share something as you're pulling this up really quick. So to Alfredo's point, if you guys can still see me, what the suggestion was is like If I already know what the 50 state purchase contracts look like, then I can already put those purchase contracts into some type of initial AI and then create 50 different um, automation, what do they call it? Like outputs, like guaranteed outputs. And so that way I'm helping the AI make the right decision instead of the AI having to figure out and read every contract the same way all the single time. Like it's kind of like pattern recognition. We're trying to give the AI the pattern early so that it doesn't have to make a decision. It already knows the pattern. And then that's more of like an automation. So it becomes a repeatable output. I know that if I feed you the same California purchase contract a million times, you will never forget where the financing contingency is located. As long as you know that's a California purchase contract. That's the whole point of this. That you'll never make a mistake because the mistakes are so costly for us, right? It depends on as you move up the chain in how expensive the mistake is, you don't want any mistakes. If the goal is to
Yeah,
replace a human, if the goal is to replace a human, I don't want my AI to make mistakes. That's what we're getting at. Okay.
very cool. Yeah. So I've basically been building out a platform to kind of do that same thing where we're thinking like, do I even want AI to respond to tenant inquiries, or instead, do I want to make so much automation that I then only have a few questions that need to be answered, and then AI can strap a human with, and actually, maybe I can show this because I have a couple of Airbnbs. Uh, we don't really manage for other people, these are all mine, but this is something that I'm kind of building out for the I call it room on, and it's going to be a bunch of tools to really help, especially if you're on pad split. So you can see here, like let's say if somebody messages us in these here, and for example, maybe this one. What's really cool is you can see that this messaging tool has a suggest with AI. So instead of actually responding for you, it'll strap you with a potential AI response, and then the human can come in and either send it or fix it so that they're kind of better strapped with it. Instead of having AI make the decision and send it, you kind of better strap this automation to help send it. But one of the things that we don't have in co-living today is automated messaging, which I think is huge. Like if we go into messaging rules, so like for Airbnb like this, you're able to on a you can send in their check instructions. The first morning after, check in and say, how are you? Oh, and let me know if I am coming in and out. I just got a notice. It says my internet
You're
connection is
definitely
unstable.
coming in and out. You're unstable. See, and this is unstable. I'm just kidding. All right,
Yeah,
so
so
we
technology
could,
is unstable.
yeah, technology is unstable. Laura says she uses owners for STRs, automates messaging at Reezy. So Laura, that's a good point. Like AI is overkill and it's not giving a repeatable result when you can use automation. That's the difference. It's knowing do I really need AI here or can I build it in a way where I'm using automation? And now you can use AI to help you build the automation. That's all good, but you want the automation so it's repeatable a million times over. It's the same exact thing. It just becomes an if, then. If this
Yeah.
happens, then do this.
For sure. And yeah, so basically, Laura, I think what we're trying to do with Roomon is kind of get it to that level as well. So it'll be a bunch of tools that'll help you out with basically co-living operations, just kind of how some of these other platforms do for messaging. So you'll be able to list your properties. You'll be able to even run ads against them if you want to try to run some marketing outside of PadSplit. If you want to do off PadSplit, you'll be able to message folks. Same thing with maintenance. You'll be able to see leases if you have leases. And then we've got a couple of uh, products like the Tenant Qualifier Pro. This is one thing where we used AI to build co-living questionnaire. So like if whenever somebody books with us, they'll get this co-living fit questionnaire. And I think this is pretty interesting for those that are either already managing or self-managing. But basically it's a five-step questionnaire. And we try to make it as easy as possible. We start off with really simple stuff like, hey, what are your home goals? Tell us about your personality. Are you introvert, extrovert, morning riser? What are your cleanliness habits? Then we kind of disclose about smoking. We try to catch folks. There's some folks that are going to be like, I do smoke, and I plan to smoke inside my room with the window open. We try to get these folks so we can screen them out for smoking. Um, is Roomon a PMS you're building out specific for co-living? Yes, that's exactly right. This is going to be a property management software for co-living, and we're rolling it out for our property management company. And if you're interested in looking at the beta, let us know because we're going to be kind of slow rolling this out to other folks. To use it is free, and then obviously the folks that want to use it want to get our property management services. We would then charge on top of that, but we're making it a free co-living platform to use for folks to manage them. Uh, we currently do not manage properties outside of Texas. We have a partner that does it nationwide that we can refer you to, but all of ours, and he's going to be using Roomon, but all of our stuff right now is in Texas. And so,
Who's the partner? Can you share the partner name right now or not yet?
yeah, yeah. Well, it's Dave Edwards. He has co-living ops, and now he's
Oh, got
going
it.
nationwide.
Got it. Got it.
He will be using the Roomon platform to manage co-living properties nationwide.
And
Um,
Roomon integrates with PadSplit, is that right? So
yeah,
this is an additional benefit to PadSplit. So talk
yeah,
about like where PadSplit falls off and where Roomon picks up,
yeah.
or just how you leverage the both, like both. Yeah.
So the two things that we have for Pad Split today are going to be this questionnaire. You can use this to add the additional screening. The other thing is we have this Chrome extension, and this sits on your browser and does stuff on Pad Split for you. So this is how we do the automated questionnaire. So like if you go into automations, we can go and see these message automations. You'll be able to see like, let's say you are self-managing and you don't want to respond to bookings on the weekend. Well, you can create your screening questionnaire template. So when somebody books, they'll automatically get that screening questionnaire without you having to respond to them in PadSplit. They'll automatically get screened. And then we have a move-in schedule messaging. Like your first day, it's like, hey, welcome in. Here's, everything that you need to know. Here's our emergency maintenance line. Here's information about renters insurance that we do. Then you can set up recurring messages like every month, we like to remind about
You're cutting in and out, dude.
referrals. Like, hey, dude, what
No.
page
Alfredo, turn off your video,
to
maybe.
get somebody
No, we can't hear you.
here?
We're losing you, man.
And letter.
I turned off your video. Hopefully this is
What about
easier.
now?
Yeah, just go ahead and well, keep sharing your screen, and then unless you got kicked out.
No, no, no. How does it sound now?
You're better, but maybe just we're cutting the bandwidth. Are you living in like one of your co-living properties and your internet's not too good?
Let
Just
me
kidding.
move into my. Oh no, that's even worse.
Uh,
One bar.
okay, keep going.
What about now? Does this sound better?
Yeah, sounds better. You sound a little far away, but sounds
What
better.
about now? Is that better?
Yep. All right, keep going.
Okay, so yeah, so then basically like it sets up recurring messages so you can ask for referrals, tell people to even post on Facebook Marketplace if they want to make $200 to send people into your room. And then this one's really cool. It's an after hours reply. So like, hey, you've caught me after hours. If you have an emergency, please call this emergency maintenance line or, potentially I'll get back to you like in the next morning. And so like this could help just solve a lot of people that are self-managing's problems of having to always be on PadSplit whenever they go in. So that's kind of one thing on PadSplit. It'll help you automate the messaging, and then it gives you kind of this questionnaire. What's also really cool is we go super deep into service animals. So, like, if they say yes, we ask everything we're legally allowed to. Like, is it because of a disability? What was the animal trained to do? Give us proof of vaccinations and a letter from a healthcare provider. Uh, and then we've got a pretty cool upsell. So, like, once you're on stage two, we try to screen them out, right? We're like, if you're going to stay less than 3 months, we're not looking to have you. If if you're flexible staying, you didn't do the 12-week commitment, we might filter you out. And then we've got this TV upsell, which I think a lot more people need to do. Even if your co-living already has smart TVs, you can look more competitively priced by dropping your price down by like, $20 a week. And then on the market, as people are shopping, it looks like you're cheaper. Once they come in here, we upsell them then the TV. And we're getting 1 out of 3 tenants opting into this. And so, you end up making an extra $200 to $300 a month on your house, and you're priced competitively, but you're using the upsell. Whereas, folks are on pad split, they're seeing all these different prices, they kind of go with the better value. But once they're in our questionnaire, we try to then upsell them into more expensive stuff. Uh, and then we get a little bit into their background, their rental history. We also then charge them $16 a month for renter's insurance. And this gives the landlord $100,000 in tenant liability coverage per tenant. So if you've got an 8-bedroom house and something happens, this is landlord forced place renters insurance unless they opt out and get their own, which means we control that liability. So like if your house burns down, you've got an extra $800,000 in an 8-bedroom house, if it was one of the tenant's issues, in liability coverage. And
Who's the insurance? Who do you use for the renter's insurance?
Beagle for PM, they are uh, they're a startup. I forgot where they're based out of. I think it's either New York or San Francisco. But the owner just bought an old insurance company and they're using AI to scale insurance. And so they're making custom renter solutions for people.
No, they don't do co-living. The co-living insurance, you want to use single source. If you type in single source insurance,
Is
they
that
have,
are those the pad split guys?
yeah, this is for pad split. I don't know if they do I think it's pad split and regular co-living, right? Or not, or just pad split.
I don't know. I thought they were pad split, but Beagle gave us like they set up a custom product for us.
Wait, Beagle does insurance for co-living as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Beagle 4 p.m. Yeah, I mean they're insuring all of our co-living rooms. But we've got a
Mm.
special deal and setup with them because we're a little larger. They will even cover the tenant, even if the tenant doesn't pay, because we're doing so much business with them. So we give the
What?
landlord peace of mind.
Dude, you
Like,
should get a referral code so that we can benefit as well. You should get like some type of yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can connect you with them too if you'd like. They're a really good connect.
Connect me. I mean, we have yeah, we a lot of my investors want co-living specific insurance companies,
Yeah.
and
And
right
this is
now
for
the
renters. This isn't the landlords. This is the renters insurance.
got it, not landlords. Okay, single
Yeah.
source insurance is landlord for everybody, and then sounds like Beagle is renters. Yes,
Renters insurance. Yeah.
got
Yeah.
it.
The tenants insurance. Yeah, and then a couple other cool automation things we do. We do employment and income verification. We'll ask them to upload. Uh,
Yeah, Alfredo's sharing his screen. So can you drop that Beagle Beagle PM whatever? Can you drop the URL into the chat?
yeah,
Can you guys see Alfredo's screen? So you're not just seeing me on here, right? Cool.
I wonder if
Okay.
that they're also called Beagle Labs. That's the parent company. I wonder if Beagle 4 PM is only for PM for property management companies. Uh, that might be worth something looking into.
Yeah, I guess they'll tell us. All right,
Yeah,
keep going. So so okay, right now I'm imagining the workflow. They they get because a lot of us are using Pad Split, right? Michael as well. So they go to Pad Split, they apply, you approve them or you do not approve them, and you send them this. They have 24 hours to approve on Pad Split. Before you approve them, you send them this.
yeah. So our automation will automatically, like as soon as they book, Our automation automatically sends them the little paragraph that says, hey, you need to fill out this questionnaire. They do this on their phone. They have 24 hours to do it. And as soon as they fill it in, somebody on our team is going to call them. And we're going to run through expectations, next steps on the house, all that good stuff. So yeah, and like Rumon's kind of helping us do that automation and providing this screening questionnaire. So yeah, if they don't respond to this within 24 hours, we don't approve them into our home. We have the highest rejection rate in Texas because of like this screening questionnaire process, but we also have lower delinquencies, people not paying, issues in our homes, like turnover,
Because you
higher
create a
claims.
really good amount of barrier to entry.
Exactly.
Um,
But yeah, we're trying to get like kind of the better folks on the platform. And then here's one of our kind of cooler little secret sauces is inside their phone, and I wonder if we can get it to look like mobile. Yeah, so if you can see it here, this is what it looks like on their phone. And as they scroll through here, they'll be able to say, hey, you're about to have to take a really quick video of yourself. And so tell us your name, your hobby, and like these house rules. And they'll literally hit ready to record and it will give them the prompt. And as they're here, they'll click start recording. And this will turn on the camera on their phone and they'll be able to kind of read through this. Like, hey, tell us your name, your hobbies, something you know a lot about that other housemates can ask you about. And then, they kind of read through all the house rules and say, I acknowledge and agree the house rules. They'll literally click start recording and it'll turn their camera on.
yeah,
Uh,
this part's pretty sick. And I bet you right here, some people are like, I'm not recording a video myself. Like, this is crazy. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, cool. Well, like everybody else has done it inside of that's in the property. So I'll see you later.
right. And so now what's really interesting is we've used this to screen out. We found one person because you can't tell over text whether or not that person is inebriated. And so we found a person that was incredibly out of their mind on video, and we're like, oh wow, you looked really good on paper, but on video, like slurred words, video was super choppy, and we're like, okay, there's something wrong here. They didn't want to do a call after that, and they had like canceled the video early. So we're kind of using it to help screen out to the like that level of person because if you have somebody that's coming in that's an alcoholic, you may or may not, they're going to come in to blow up your home. So they'll
Yeah.
submit and we'll get that email uh, that'll come in and we'll kind of go through.
Fernando, do you guys have cameras in the public and the communal areas in your properties?
It's up to the owners. I personally do. It's inside the kitchens and pointing at all uh, exterior doors.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
us too. And like just that alone also gets rid of people.
it's
Like
a
if I'm
really good
like,
deterrent.
yeah,
Yeah,
hey, are you okay with cameras in the common spaces to protect you and the people that you're in with? And they're like, no, I don't want cameras. All right, see you later.
yeah, exactly. That's his disclosure right here. Please acknowledge the security cameras in your
Oh, that's
prison
perfect.
and kitchens. Yeah, and so they'll grab that. But yeah, so like that's kind of like the majority of the automations that we do in order to like get bookings and so we're doing a lot of automations, but we use AI to build this stuff. Uh, we just aren't trying to use AI as a decision point yet until it kind of gets there.
Yes. Cool. Um, if you wanted to use AI in that situation, you could probably, if you stored a bunch of data and you needed the AI to sift through the data and like report a summary or an analysis or something to you, you could probably do that if you needed to.
Yeah, 100%. Those are really good one-off cases where like Gemini's really good at crunching through a bunch of data. If you need to generate text or generate any type of copy, then Claude is like the thing you want to use. And then I know we were talking about it earlier, but the if you need it, like let's say you wanted to, if you know this podcaster named Sam Weggert out of North Carolina, and you're like, he's put out a bunch of content. I wonder if he's dealt with this specific co-living situation. Well, you can use something like Perplexity, and in like half a second, it'll crunch through all of his YouTube videos and then tell you, oh yeah, in episode whatever, he went through this and this is what they did. So it might be something interesting if you need to do
Which
research.
one is that one? Oh yeah, Perplexity. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. That's
Perplexity.
the one you were telling me about earlier.
Yeah,
Cool.
Perplexity is insane for
It looks
anything
like
to do with
Laura's been hustling hard on the AI. Nice one,
on
Laura.
AI everything. Yeah, it sounds like Laura's been on all the stuff.
Cool. You had a question in there from Royce. Friend.
At what point in the screening process do you change from automation to real person who makes a final decision? That is actually somebody on our team. As soon as we get and what's kind of cool is our questionnaire. I wonder if I can find one. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like whenever it comes to our team, because it's already highlighting the red flags. And so it tells whoever's on our team, like, hey, you need to ask about this, ask about that. Oh, yeah, perfect. I found one. So let me share my screen. Let me see if you guys can see this. Um, Here's some that came in today. You'll be able to see that this person, red flag on the smoking status. Service animals, they prefer no service animals in the home, but they understand that service animals may enter. So we would just disclose to her whether or not this home has a service animal. Duration, see, it's red flag that she's only going to stay for a few weeks, and she chose flexible stay. So this is probably someone like we talked to them like, hey, we're looking more for 90-day folks or more. She probably wouldn't be a good fit. Yeah, but you'll see that she also opted into the smart TV add-on. So she's willing to pay an extra 80 bucks a month for the premium smart TV. Nothing on their background, employment status. This is what she does, employment contacting info. And then we've got we can view the video that he sent us in. Want to make sure she doesn't reveal any information, so we won't play that video. But uh, but
It's
yeah,
pretty sick, dude.
that's kind of
This
what
is really cool. I'm like, let's clap it up for Fredo for putting in the effort and figuring a lot of this stuff out, man. I think it's really, really cool. All right, guys. I am gonna have to probably dip though. I have a hot date with the wifey. Any last questions that I'm sure Fredo or myself can answer really quick before we hop off that you think are pretty quick questions? And Fredo, how do people connect with you, man? You want to drop your number, your email? Do you want people to connect with you, or do you want them to connect with your team? So I know, like on my side, if you want to connect with me, you're most likely going to be connected with my team. So I'll drop my email. There you go. You got to book a call there. Yes, Jello dropped it. Yeah, perfect, Jello. So Jello dropped it for me.
nice.
You've got my email. If you email me or you DM me or you book a call, you're most likely to get routed to my team, which is cool because my team will take care of you. And sometimes they do a better job than me in case I am doing a webinar right now. Like people messaging me right now, I'm not available. So let's see,
Yeah,
Fredo. If you want to add
thanks.
Fredo on Instagram, Fredo Fire.
Yeah, just Instagram or that booking a call is the best way to grab anybody on my team. It's usually me or someone else on my team. Magali's our account executive. She started taking all the sales calls, but you can also book my time on that calendar.
Cool. There you go. Dropping. I'll leave it out there for a little bit if you guys want to copy and paste both of our stuff. Um, and then if they want to be a beta test, what do you want them to do? Do you have an email? You want them to
Yes. Yeah, send me an email. I will get you on that list.
drop your email. Hey, Veronique, you got it. Woo! Veronique, we closed two of her refis that she was struggling to get done. And look at this. Now, as part
Nice.
of the connection, she found you and can learn like property management and all this stuff. This is great. And actually, Fredo, I'm going to connect Michael O'Driscoll, who is Kansas City, Missouri property management. He's got 400 doors under management right now. So I'm going to connect him with Justin and you guys, and maybe he can. Oh, he connected. He booked a call with you. So I'll
Oh,
connect him with Justin too, and I mean, if he's got 400 doors over there in Kansas City, that's another market. It could be somebody that's valuable in your guys' property management group.
100%. Yeah, very
Okay.
cool. I think who do we know? Wasn't that Mandy? Mandy and who's the other guy to Kansas City? Was it Ashley?
Ashley, yeah. I don't know to what degree they're managing heavy like that. Were they doing that? I know they're from Kansas City. Oh, they
They
don't
don't
have
have
pathways.
passwords. Oh, okay. I think they're doing more like investor, realtor, wholesale stuff. Yeah. I think
MTR.
Mandy's doing MTR. Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing heavy on the seller finance world too. Okay, guys. Fredo, dude, I loved it, man. Always appreciated talking to you. I know we're gonna catch up again next week. Thank you everybody for coming over. Thanks for booking. This was great. We had like 25 people. So book with me, book with Fredo. You got both of us on Instagram, and you have our teams. We'll catch you guys later. Have a nice rest of the weekend, rest of the good night. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone. Let's
guys.
have an awesome 2026. Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks, guys.
Let's go.